Oh God. Well, let me tell you this. It is definitely no Shaun of the Dead or Zombieland. That's for sure. Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. That sounds like a fun, interesting, great horror comedy title. I mean, you think that it's gonna be sort of a, okay, this is how scouts would survive the apocalypse of zombies. So let me give you a little bit of a rundown of what this movie's about. It's about these three kids that are still scouts, and they are in high school, I believe. They're not seniors, but they are in high school. I think they're going to be turning into juniors, if I remember correctly. But they're best friends, they're still in scouts, and two of them really want to be out of it, and they're only scouts because their best friend is really into it and they're just doing it for him. But meanwhile, while this drama is happening, the two people that want to be out of the scouts hear about the secret senior party and they want to go to it, and they want to ditch the friend while they're out camping. And as this goes on, suddenly zombie apocalypse happens, some sort of accident happens at a lab, and zombies have overrun the town. Okay, listen, because of two great comedy horror zombie movie classics, because of those two movies, zombie comedy horrors, they have a certain requirement. You know, there's a certain level they have to try to reach in order to be good, because Shaun of the Dead and Zombieland, they really set the bar for this sort of genre. And when you don't reach or match that bar, then it just gets boring. And that's unfortunately what Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse is like. It's been done before. It really didn't feel like a really good horror comedy either. Like, it had some really decent, good, serious zombie horror to it. Things you feel that would be better in a normal, serious zombie movie. Like, there's some really good, interesting stuff in it. But there's something that doesn't mesh well, and I think that's because the comedy falls really flat. I probably laughed only 2 times throughout this movie, and it was sort of more of a chuckle or a giggle. It wasn't really like, oh my God, that's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. It's just sort of, Like the beginning where you find out how the zombie apocalypse happens, how the accident happens in the lab. Like, some moments in that were really funny and pretty decent horror comedy. But other than that scene, there really isn't a lot of memorable, funny moments in the movie. There's a lot of moments that made me roll my eyes, a lot of moments that just felt, And then there was some really good, decent zombie horror. Like, one of the more aggravating scenes of the whole movie is the Britney Spears scene. It just comes out of nowhere, and there's nothing funny about it. Yeah, they start singing Britney Spears with a zombie, and the zombie just goes with it. What? There's also a bit of inconsistency with the zombies as well. Some walk while others run. Some of them actually run while crawling. It didn't know if it wanted to be a fast zombie movie or a slow zombie movie. And then some of the zombies took their time when trying to bite at people. Like, at least have the zombie always trying to bite them, you know? Because there's certain times when they're attacking, they're mindless zombies, they're trying to eat people. While other times they take their sweet time and, like, do a strip tease for them before attacking them. And for a movie called Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, I was hoping there would be some rules established, like, okay, if you're in this sort of mess, this is how you defeat the zombie. But that doesn't really happen, not like in Zombieland. Maybe they were worried that it would seem too much like Zombieland, but in this movie, it would make perfect sense. It's called Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. Make some rules. Instead, it just feels like another zombie movie where the characters don't know they're zombies, and don't know how to deal with them until they slowly learn, okay, this is how we deal with the zombies in the last 10 minutes of the movie. Now, speaking of that though, I do have to give them some credit. Like, they didn't feel like completely dumb characters that didn't know what a zombie was. Like, there's several movies where the characters are like, what is that? It's like coming back to life, but I have no idea what's going on and how we kill it. What is it? Instead, one of the characters, to prove their point that it's zombies, shoots the zombie in the chest. It gets right back up. She shoots it in the head, and then the other people go, oh yeah, it's a zombie. Okay, we understand now. The movie sort of felt like a mixture of Superbad meets Zombieland and Shaun of the Dead, but not being anywhere near as good as any of those three movies. It was alright, it wasn't horrible or awful, because there were some really good zombie moments in it, but it really wasn't funny either, so it's not a really good horror comedy. So overall, I think I'm going to have to give Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse 2 stars. So have you seen Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse? What'd you think about it? Go ahead and comment. If not, what is your favorite zombie movie of all time? As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was Just My Opinion.